Yo, what's up? Welcome to another subscriber requested video. So in this video we are gonna check Cold Wonder Raider. So we are gonna use Frenzy charges and Ice Bite support to get some good amount of flat cold damage. Also added cold support obviously. So this is gonna be a cold build. So because the character is Raider, I easily kept my suppress chance. So the character has more than 100%, which is the cap obviously. Spell suppress chance. So you are gonna be tanky against spells. We also got lots of evasion and then later on converted it to armor. So the character also has 40k armor with the flask up. So normally it is like 25 or 30k I believe, which is also enough. So the character is gonna be tankier against both attacks and spells. I couldn't fit in much chaos resist because it's gonna be way more expensive. So the budget I use for this build is like 30, 40 Exile, something like that. Because I used a couple of Awaken gems, a good body armor. I skipped, not Watcher's Eye, Battle Fate. And maybe more expensive wand. I don't know, maybe better rings, let's say better jewelry. So you can actually spend more if you want. Because unfortunately wand builds, those kind of wand skills, let's say, are not super powerful with low budget. They are definitely, in my opinion, worse than bow builds. Because with this same investment you can easily achieve double the DPS on a bow character. But this character is actually way tankier than most bow builds. So, and it has a little different play style. So if you want to play a wonder for a long time, maybe you couldn't find any source. So right now this build is not known that much in my opinion. That's why I was interested in it. Some of my subscribers sent me the build. From a POE ninja, I just worked on that, changed a couple of things, and just fixed some of the parts, let's say. So my character had more than 9 million damage DPS, let's say maybe 8 million because Culling Strike is also happening. So that was enough, obviously. I didn't go for a feared because 9 million damage in my opinion is not that good for that combat. Also again, I didn't have much chaos resist, so I skipped that, but I did everything else. You are gonna all watch them. I believe all of them are deathless. I also did some Nemesis Beyond farm, so they're gonna be everything. So this build can do like 90% of the content probably. That's why it's gonna be a powerful build. So consider playing this later on, maybe in the new league, because right now most of you don't play the game anyways. Don't forget to subscribe. If you also want to join my Discord, feel free to come and give me ideas. And we are gonna now check the clips, the boss clips, and I will be back later on explaining everything you need to know about this build. Alright, I'm back. Let's just hop right into it. Again, please don't forget to subscribe. If you are new to the channel, you can also support me in my Patreon so I can maybe buy better equipment, as maybe if you still don't know, I don't make any money from YouTube, so this is like a hobby for me. Actually, this is not a job, alright? So let's just first take a look at the character. So this is a Ranger, Raider character. Deadeye maybe can be better for other kind of bow and maybe wand builds. We already know that people play it for int stacking, which is a very expensive and, in my opinion, a squishy build. So that's why I decided to make this build. So Raider, let's just check. Quartz Infusion, Suppress Spell and Phasing. Phasing obviously lets you walk through monsters, so you cannot get body blocked, let's say. And the high percentage of Suppress Spell is also nice, so you can easily cap it with a couple of items. If you cannot get enough on your items, you can easily spend, I believe, 4 points on the talent tree to get huge amounts of. So I actually skipped suppress spell points on the talent tree because 2 of my pieces provide good amount of them, so I can actually cap my suppress. But again, if you cannot find those kind of equipment for some reason, just spend a couple of points on the talent tree so you can easily cap your suppress spell chance. Avatar of the Veil. 50% chance to avoid elemental ailments while phasing. We are phasing all the time, so that's why that 50% is gonna be up all the time. You obviously want to get the rest of it from talent tree and equipment. Talent tree already provides some decent amount, and the final percentage is gonna be on my shield because that was the easiest and the cheapest piece. So that's why I also try to cap your avoid elemental ailment chance. And in the end, the character is also ailment immune, so another reason to be tankier. Way of the Poacher, that is how we generate frenzy charges. On single target we are using barrage support, so we will shoot lots of projectiles under a second. So you can easily get those 20% chances and easy to cap your frenzy charge in a couple of seconds, let's say. So the character right now has 9 frenzy charges. I'm gonna explain the rest of them obviously in the pet of gear section. But we obviously have frenzy charges on a talent tree. Way of Poacher provides it. We have gloves, boots, and those kind of stuff, so a lot of power charges, frenzy charges in the end. The character also has power charges. We also got a couple of those on the talent tree, by the way. So we will also have some decent crit strike chance. And Power Siphon also has some synergy, so we are gonna check the gems in a second. And finally, Avatar of Slaughter. Lots of bonuses per frenzy charge. This is how to be tankier and also more DPS and movement speed. So once you enter a map, you will notice that the character is super slow at first, but once you attack a single pack, you will probably have those frenzy charges ready, and bam, you will start feeling the character, alright? And also because this Avatar of Slaughter provides evasion rating per frenzy charge, later on we will also convert that to armor rating with iron reflexes. That is how to scale more armor. That's how I have actually 40k armor. So you can easily face tank something like a Minotaur, I don't know, any other kind of physical damage dealing boss, so you won't have any problems. Legion monsters, let's say, most builds just get deleted, but this character is also tanky enough against Legion monsters. But something to mention right now, I will probably also show that in Path of Building later on in this video. I highly suggest you to use one Inspired Learning Jewel if you want to do Legion and Nemesis Beyond Farm, because that makes huge difference. The talent tree is already flexible enough, so you just need to spend like 3 extra points, I believe, to make Inspired Learning work. So that's gonna be very easy to just fit in that jewel. So I highly suggest you to use that if you mainly do mapping with this character, because that makes huge difference. So right now I will explain the core skills that we are using. I'm not gonna explain all the gems, obviously it's gonna be a waste of time. Maybe we are gonna check them later in the Path of Building. The main DPS skill for single target is Power Siphon. This is our 6 link. We want to use barrage support in this, so we can actually shoot the projectiles together, let's say, for single target. The skill already has lots of projectiles in it. That's why with barrage support in it, and also you may want to use Dying Sun Flask for more DPS. So in the end, the skill easily shoots more than 10 projectiles, and that means that if you also scale, get some life on hit or attacks from your maybe jewelry and maybe Watcher's Eye. There's also a little bit on the talent tree, I believe. you can easily get lots of life on hit on top of life leech actually. So you can easily face tank most stuff because the character will have huge recovery per second. And yeah, this is our 6 link. So next, Kinetic Blast. This is our mapping skill. This is a 4 link, so that's why it won't hit that much. So the thing about Kinetic Blast, I again avoided most of the expensive stuff. So normally there is Anomalous Kinetic Blast, which provides pierce to additional targets, which is important for map clear. Because I didn't buy this gem because it is like 10 exalt right now. Because it is a rare gem, I believe, and also int stack wonders probably buy it. Yeah, so that's why we skip that. That's why I am also using pierce support. So that means that I lost lots of DPS on my Kinetic Blast. If you want to invest more, just get an Anomalous Kinetic Blast and do not use pierce support. Just use maybe elemental damage with attacks or added cold, something like that. So your mapping DPS can be actually better. If you struggle at any target while mapping, maybe a beefy elite, any essence monster, something like that, just shoot your power siphon instead, and you will just delete the target in a second probably, because that is how the DPS difference is, let's say. Because power siphon again has like 9 million, 8 million damage DPS. On the other hand, Kinetic Blast has something like 500k, not even a million. So that is the difference. So that's why you need to use both skills while mapping if it is necessary. On Kinetic Blast we also have a GMP support, so lots of projectiles going on. That is how you clear maps faster. Kinetic Blast has a better map clear in my opinion, and me and other players obviously using it for many years now. Kinetic Blast also got nerfed a couple of leagues ago, maybe like 2 years ago. I actually forgot it because it was actually way more powerful back then, but still it is one of the best map clear skills in the game. He also has Herald of Ice for buffs, you know, Hatred, Herald of Ice. So this is a cold build, so you will also notice those Herald of Ice explosions. So if you also have a good MTX, this is the right time to use that, so you can enjoy the build even more. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to explain the rest of the gems right now. Let's just start explaining the equipment. So let's start with the wand. So first of all, the obvious choice is an imbued wand, because that is the fastest wand type for late game, let's say. Because that has actually 1.5 seconds attacks per second. So because this is an attack build and a cold build, you obviously want stats related to attack and cold. But there is also a mastery that lets you, I will just read it. Increase and reductions to spell damage also apply to attacks while wielding a wand. So this is a mastery that is in any wand mastery, so you can just get it for 1 point. That's why you can actually also get spell damage from your gear. So right now only my wands implicit have spell damage, but you can also get another spell damage as a prefix. So while crafting your wand, maybe you can also try, or if you want to get a fractured wand, maybe you can also get a spell damage fracture. So know that spell damage actually works for this build, even though it is an attack build, thanks to that mastery point. So the good stats on our wand is obviously attack speed on suffix, so your wand can be faster. Crit strike chance, so you can have more crit strike chance. Crit strike chance for spells don't work actually. Maybe you are confused if you are a new player. Yes, spell damage works because of that mastery point, but spell damage for spells, those kind of stuff, do not work for this build, alright? So you want crit strike chance for the attack, for the weapon itself, attack speed, same stuff. You can get cold damage as a flat damage on the wand's prefix. That is how I crafted it with the Hatred essence, I believe. I will maybe put a couple of essence options on the screen. If you have an open prefix, this is a very good way to get more DPS. Just craft attacks with this weapon, penetrate elemental resistances. The expensive one is 1 exalt, the cheaper, the lower tier, let's say, is like 4 chaos, I believe. So just craft depending on your budget. Obviously more penetration means more DPS later on. And that's pretty much it, what you want on your wand. Again, if you have the budget, if you can maybe find one, whatever, get a fractured wand so you can actually craft easier. My wand has cold damage, fracture. I bought it for like 50 chaos or maybe 100 chaos, something like that. It was under an exalt, so that's why I just sniped it and crafted on that, because cold damage also works. Again, it can also be spell damage because it works for this build. That's pretty much it about the wand. You will most likely craft your wand yourself, because this kind of wand, similar wands, let's say the other stats also, maybe spell damage, those kind of stuff, they don't exist because people do not play wonder builds. It is not meta. It is wonder builds definitely. These kind of maybe lower budget, let's say, are weaker than bow builds. But this is actually way more tankier. So that's why another kind of play style, let's say, a different build, let's say. Next, shield. So this was very cheap. Bought it for 40 chaos, I believe. Life, resist. You want to keep your avoid elemental ailment chance. That's why you need to put it on one of your items. Shield is the easiest one. That's why I put it on that. Because I also want to keep my suppress spell chance, I also put that on the same shield. There are actually lots of results like this. Maybe they have different resistances or maybe lower resistances. But shield is a very good place to get both suppress and avoid elemental ailment. You can also put accuracy, or if you have any open prefix, you can put craft, let's say, from bench. Cold damage as extra chaos damage to boost your DPS. So you can try to get those kind of other stats. Maybe use any influence if you know anything good, maybe more other stats. Maybe if you can keep your suppress spell from somewhere else, I don't know. But this is what I used because it was cheap and I needed to keep those defenses, let's say. Helmet, Crown of the Immortal Eye, very cheap. A common drop from Sirus. So the main reason we use this provides lots of transfiguration bonuses. I'm just gonna put the descriptions on the screen. So one of them actually provides spell damage. So not much, but still provides a little bit spell damage, let's say. Because spell damage works for this build thanks to the Wand Mastery, that also provides DPS for this build. There's also attack damage, I believe, so those transfiguration bonuses actually provide DPS. The helmet also provides percentage life, mana, inner shield, so that's also gonna work for this build, obviously. And it is also an armor base, so which is better for defense, obviously, because this is an armor build. Finally, for the enchant, because it was cheap, no one uses this kind of stuff. The labyrinth service providers also do not charge that much. Mostly they are too exalt. Sniper Mark Curse. Power Siphon fires 2 additional projectiles. Those two are probably the best. Power Siphon was cheaper, that's why I went for that. But actually Sniper Mark Curse effect is better, I believe. So just check the path of building. Maybe your gear is different, maybe the calculations might be different. But these are the two enchants that you may want to use. Girl is not going into the core, but if somehow we can again enchant corrupted items, maybe you can also corrupt the helmet for maximum power charge, later on enchant it. But again, Scourge is not going into the core game, I believe. That is what they announced. But maybe the item, the currency, I forgot the name, maybe they are gonna add it into the game. Maybe we can still enchant corrupted items later on. We are gonna see. If that happens, first of all, get a corrupted helmet. Again, power charge, maximum power charge is good, or anything else that you may think of. Alright, and enchant on that if you want. Body armor, this is probably my most expensive piece because it had elevated mode, but I didn't search for that actually. I wanted to first of all keep my suppressed spell damage chance. That's why I searched for that. That's why the body armor was expensive. I paid like 15 exalts for this. But if you actually skip suppress spell, they are under 10 exalt. You can just craft them with Awakener orb yourself and use Reforge Caster on the prefix because of the suffixes cannot change the modifier, so you will just block the suffixes and get that apply additional curse 100%. That is how to craft these kind of body armors actually. But I wanted to keep my suppress spell easier and I just spent extra for this body armor. You can also put suppress spell chance on, I believe, blows, but not really sure. So just check. And again, if you cannot keep them, keep the chance for suppress, just spend like 3 or 4 points on the talent tree if you want. So you can just get some suppress spell notables. Because again, I actually haven't spent any points on the talent tree for suppress spell chance. For the glows, So this is a good source to get maximum frenzy charges. So there are two options to get maximum frenzy charges. One is a rare gloves with Warlord influence. That is what I did because it was cheap enough. I wanted to use Awakener orb with a hunter base, intimidate enemies for 4 seconds on hit. Because we shoot lots of projectiles, more than 10 with each attack, that percentage, 7% whatever, is gonna proc as soon as possible if you are not unlucky, let's say. Intimidate obviously provides 10% increase damage taken for attacks, which is a more multiplier and results in good amount of DPS. So just combine the both, frenzy charge and that. And I just got this shit gloves actually. It didn't provide much, but I didn't want to make the build expensive, let's say. That's why I just stopped there. You can actually obviously work on this if you want. Use maybe keep prefix whatever. Because I believe frenzy charge and intimidate are both prefixes. So you can actually fix the suffixes if you want to spend some extra currency on harvest craft to craft something better in the end. Another place to get frenzy charge is a Hands of High Templar unique gloves. So just search for frenzy charge. If you also need a second curse or maybe more stats, let's say, also you can add elemental weakness curse, maybe attack speed or attack save crit, so a good double implicit Hands of High Templar. But those gloves are not that cheap actually, at least like 5 exalt I believe, so you may want to spend more. That's why in the end I decided to use a rare gloves instead, so I can also intimidate, which you cannot normally do. So this is actually a better DPS in my opinion. Boots, Dark Ray Vectors, 1 Chaos Boots. The enchanted version is like 1 Exalt. This is a common item, everyone uses and enchants this, so it is easy to buy actually with the enchant. Damage penetrates elemental resistance if you haven't healed recently. The best in slot enchant for elemental builds, obviously, if you invest into penetration. Other than that, +1 maximum frenzy, which is super important, and movement speed. Also evasion rating, which is again gonna be armor. So a very good boots in the end. Next, Amulet. So first of all, if you need attributes, you may need strength. That's why I try to get a good amulet that has strength implicit at least. My amulet also had attributes, so it was easier to keep my strength. But actually my rings, one of my rings, let's say, do not provide strength at all. My belt do not have any strength. So there are more places to put strength actually. So if you cannot have enough strength, let's say, just get a belt because it will probably be the easiest piece, or get a second ring maybe, alright? So you can work on that strength later on, but your amulet should provide some because that is important. Other stats are obviously crit multiplier, elemental damage with attacks, and or let's say, because both of them is gonna be a pain in the ass, cold damage to attacks. So on the suffix obviously crit multiplier, but as the prefix, elemental damage attacks, cold damage attacks, those kind of stuff. If you want to have a lower mana cost, so maybe you can reserve more mana, try to get have, let's say, open prefixes on your jewelry, so you can actually craft non-channel skills at -7 mana cost. I crafted that on 2 of my items, so I didn't have any mana problems. You can even reserve more mana. I had more mana than I could spend. Maybe I could have reserved more vitality or precision in the end, but I didn't do that. So yeah, maybe if you have any mana problems, try to get those kind of jewelries in the end and craft those minus mana costs. Rings. First of all, if your character doesn't have kept hit chance, normally the character already has good amount of hit chance, but it is not kept, obviously. You want to put accuracy on one of your items. That is enough actually. I'm just gonna check it again. Yes, only one item have only one of my items actually provide accuracy right now. So one item is gonna be enough, a decent accuracy obviously. So one of my rings actually provide accuracy, loss of resistances, life, and also non-channel skills and minus cost. This again doesn't even provide any DPS. Normally on prefixes there are elemental damage with attacks, cold damage to attacks, so the same stuff like the amulet. So try to get good rings if you want even more DPS. My rings were shit actually. My other ring had frostbite curse because my body armor provided apply additional curse. So that's why frostbite curse is a good place to get a good way to get more DPS. You can also get elemental weakness curse because that again also provides penetration. So another curse, let's say on your ring, if you have the apply additional curse stuff on your body armor, let's say. Cold damage attacks, same stuff. Because frostbite and cold damage against shield or frozen enemies are on redeemer bases at the same time, it was actually easy for me to find something like this. So more cold damage. Also resist life, and that was it. Finally, belt. Stygian vise is obviously better, so you can also put something in the socket. A jewel with attack speed, crit strike multiplier, life, blood cold damage to wounds, maybe 2 attacks, any missing resistances or attributes, so a good slot to keep those stats maybe. Alright, so use a jewel obviously, or even get corrupted blood immunity. Actually my character do not have corrupt blood immunity, because again I didn't want to spend that much onto this character, so I could show you the potential with a medium budget, let's say, and that's why. Yeah, so for the belt itself, obviously elemental damage with attacks is number 1 stat, huge life. If you still need resistances, also you need to put some of those, or strength. All right, so after that, if you want to invest more, I bought this for 4 Exile, not that expensive, redeemer base cold damage. There is also, I believe, again on redeemer bases, but not sure, you should check that because I actually haven't used something like that in my life, let's say. Projectile damage to attacks during flask effect, I believe, something like that. So that also works while under a flask effect. Maybe you can also get a belt like that. There's also something with attack speed, again with flasks, I believe. So maybe check those stats. Maybe if you are a good crafter, craft some of those. So belt is a good way to get some DPS, alright? So make sure you spend some extra on that belt if you want better DPS. Finally, we will check the talent tree. Maybe I will show you those missing gems. I'm not sure. So let's just check them first of all. So on bosses, you may want to use an Arcanist brand setup for Vortex and Sniper Mark. So the thing that Vortex does, maybe you are already familiar. It leaves a chilling area effect, which you can also increase the effect with a bone chill support. So if the target is under a chill effect from that supported skill, it actually takes more cold damage. So that's why this is a good way to get more DPS, because this is a cold build. Sniper Mark is obviously your number 1 curse choice. So the second one is again elemental weakness or frostbite, thanks to the body armor, additional curse. So if you do not have that, you must play with a Sniper Mark. Do not get frostbite or elemental weakness because they are weaker curses. So let's just check how much DPS Sniper Mark provides if you are not familiar with these kind of builds. Lots of, more than 2 million. So this is your number 1 curse. Arcanist brand just applies both skills, so you don't need to do anything at all. Just press the brand and that's it. Just start attacking with power Siphon. Alright. Dash for mobility. Lower level precision and vitality again to reserve more mana. So you can maybe cap your hit chance, cap your crit chance. I'm not sure. Alright. So precision is good. If you have a Watcher's Eye with precision, that can also be good. Mine had something with hatred and vitality. Yes, when damage taken, Immortal Call for some mitigation. And that's pretty much it about the other gems. There are some notes here, so just read them if you want later on. So let's take a look at the talent tree. So first of all, obviously you need some mana reservation notables, so charisma, reservation mastery. So make sure you get these so you can actually reserve all the auras, buffs, alright. There's also grace reservation here in the evasion mastery. So intuitive leap here, so you can actually get the notables without even connect to them, alright. So I just got survivalist for evasion, resist, crit multiplier, attack speed, accuracy, life. So this saved me a lot of points. Also frenzy charge, obviously. So this is a frenzy charge and power charge build at the same time. So just regular stuff, projectile stuff, cold stuff, frenzy charge. So this is how to convert evasion to armor. If you can get armor in this game, a good amount, let's say more than 20k, just do it. Because evasion is obviously better if you can actually manage to dodge, you know, if you are lucky. But while fighting something like a Minotaur or I'm not sure any other hard hitting boss, if you cannot evade, if you are not lucky, you will just die. So if you can get a good amount of armor, just do it. So normally the character had 44k evasion. Alright, it is fine obviously, but if you cannot evade that attack, bam, you are dead. So with just 1 point, bam, 40k armor, kept physical damage reduction easily. So just do it, alright? I just highly recommend it because Raider has so much increased evasion rating from her own ascendancy here. We also use Dark Ray vectors, more evasion per frenzy charge, so this is gonna stack. So let's just erase the frenzy charges. We lost half of our armor, as you can see. So yeah, a very good and easy way to achieve lots of armor. So definitely get that iron reflexes. What else? So this is the place to use Inspire Learning. I will probably make another talent tree. Alright. Inspired learning. So let's just also put this here. This is gonna be the default one. 96 level. Alright. So let's just also do this while in Path of Building. So I'm not sure if I have Inspire Learning ready. No. So Inspire Learning is again a jewel that lets you steal modifiers from elite monsters. So it is a very important jewel for Nemesis Beyond farm, Legion farm. So you should definitely use one. To just get rid of one rare jewel. Let's just get rid of this. Hello guys. Crit multiplier life added cold. We already explained this in belt section. I explained the jewels, the abyss jewels, let's say. So abyss jewels and normal like these cobalt jewels are actually almost the same for this kind of builds. So this provided attack speed multiplier life. This provides again life, crit multiplier, not attack speed but cold damage attacks. So if you can manage to get a decent tier of added cold damage, that can actually be even better because flat damage provides so much DPS for these kind of attack builds. By the way, this DPS is also without dying sun. So on bosses actually I'm not using Jade Flask. You can also use Grand Flask, I believe, because that will also get converted to armor. So on bosses obviously Jade Flask is not that important, you will still have more armor. So you can do something like this. So 10 million damage actually at DPS. So where's Inspire Learning? Let's just put that here, this slot, and Watcher's Eye goes here. Alright. So this is the section you may want to use Inspire Learning. We already spent 1, 2, 3 points. So Inspire Learning normally requires 4 notables allocated. That means that you need to actually get something. So right now we have 3 notables, and for final, because the character doesn't have much chaos resist, I actually picked this here. For 3 points, lots of chaos resistances. You can even use this mastery to be Corrupt Blood immune, which is super important for Nemesis Beyond farm. Nemesis Blood farm, what the fuck is that? So I try to get also that if you are not immune. If you don't have much points, you can also get this for 2 points. Start playing with that. My character was 96 levels, so high level enough. That's why I could easily do something like this. I just skipped maybe. I believe I did like this. Maybe something like this. Alright, so bam, 3 points saved. So yeah, try to figure that out. So let's just also, yeah, let's just do that. I'm not sure, maybe you can skip something else. Yeah, there is a mastery here. You don't need that DPS in maps. Yeah, 3% damage per charge. We have 9 frenzy and 5 power charges, I believe. Something like that. But you don't need that DPS while mapping. Let's just get rid of this. Again, 96 levels. That is how I did that Nemesis Beyond farm actually. So right now this Inspire Learning is working because 1, 2, 3, 4 notables and we are good. So let's just save this. So this is your mapping farmer talent tree, alright? So back to the normal tree. Want wheel here, want mastery. This is the increase and reduction to spell damage also apply to attacks. This is how, again, this helmet provides decent DPS. Also with the enchant. Again, if you can craft something like this, maybe power charges, corruption, then curse effect. But we still don't know if they will add that while or that labyrinth, the scourge currency, you know. So this is actually better if you can get a good helmet like this, because power charges actually provides a decent crit multiplier. We already have 100% crit strike chance, but as you noticed, let's just check again, power charge actually provides multiplier. So yeah, but this was my helmet. Because power Siphon has crit multiplier per power charge, and also there is also here 5% per power charge. So power charges are a good way to increase that damage. You obviously get those on talent tree, 1, 2, and finally anoint your amulet with this. I believe 6 power charges, yeah. And another wand wheel here for additional projectile, which again more DPS. That's pretty much it, nothing else to explain. I also showed you the mapping talent tree. So can this build be a league starter? If you are a pro, yes, but I'm not gonna mention. I won't bother with this. Pro people obviously play it. That's what the guy on my Discord told me. He saw a couple of people play this in SSF hardcore or something like that, I believe. People play this, people are crazy. But I'm not gonna prepare any leveling trees. I'm not gonna recommend you, because 90% of you probably are not gonna try it, you know, bother doing that. So that's why I won't recommend this as a league starter. You should probably farm at least 20 or maybe 30 exalt and then start playing with this build, so you will actually feel better, you know. You will just feel the character, feel that speed, the DPS, the clear speed. It's gonna be a fun build in the end. So thanks for watching. If you have any more build ideas, because we still have time before the new league comes, so that's why I'm trying to do this kind of subscriber requested builds these days. But I also do some my own builds. Maybe I already uploaded them. I have maybe a couple of more coming soon, I'm not sure. So make sure you talk to me in my Discord if you want. If you are feeling generous, if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a Patreon member for only like a couple of dollars. And that's pretty much it. Thanks to anyone who supports me. I will see you later. Bye bye.